Well, good afternoon. I know we're still waiting for a little bit more food to come out, but in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and get our program started. My name is Colin Hastings. I'm the Executive Director of the Pasco Chamber of Commerce, and we welcome you to our December General Membership Luncheon, which is also our annual nonprofit showcase. I want to give thanks to GISA Credit Union for being today's sponsor, and I'm going to wait for one of the staff to come in that maybe could cut off the music. I'm not going to sing. I know there's no singing on the music, but I just can't freeform that way. So I want to thank GISA for being today's sponsor. And we did a little something different this year. As you walked in, you should have received a couple GISA bucks, or I think they're each a value of $5. So we'll probably explain this a couple times throughout the program. There's instructions we'll go over again at the end of the program. But the idea is that you find a nonprofit or more than one, you make a contribution, and GISA will be able to add to that at a $5 denomination. So we're really looking forward to today's program. You'll get to hear from the 10 nonprofits today. The idea is to have the program end before 1 o'clock to provide ample time for people to ask questions of our nonprofits as well too before we have to move on with our days. So with that, I'd like to invite everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can have a seat. Sue, can I have you turn the music off, please? Thank you. Also want to thank Lowe's for the donation of the nice poinsettias here today. They kept the price tags on them, so if you need to get some more, feel free to head by the Road 68 Lowe's to pick up some to decorate your house. I'd like to take a moment now to introduce some elected officials that have joined us here today. We'll start off with Franklin County Commissioner Bob Cook. Let's give him a round of applause. Also Franklin County Commissioner Rick Miller. There's Rick. Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant said he would show up. Did he sneak in? I haven't seen him yet. New Port of Pasco Commissioner Vicki Gordon. There she is right there. And Franklin PUD Commissioner Stu Nelson, who actually gave me, he must think I'm in need of charity because I need a hat, so I'll go ahead and put this on for you. But let's give a, this time of year it's definitely needed, so. I think I'll get the next meeting. I'll get a mask for Stu. Also want to take a moment to welcome current board members that have joined us here today. I'm going to call their names if they could just stand up and we'll recognize them afterwards. Sarah McPherson with Second Harvest, Jolene Johnson with Informed Benefits, Katie Copeland with Envoy Mortgage, Delt Clark with Christensen Inc., Samantha Horton with Durashine, Jason Hogue with American Family Insurance, and Dave Zabel with the City of Pasco. I'm trying to see if I've missed any other ones. We have our liaison, Lisa Larson with Lords. She wants to stand up, but let's give them a round of applause for joining us today. I also want to acknowledge past presidents that have joined us here today too. We have Derek Brownson with Community First Bank, Ryan Brault with Edward Jones, Kevin Williams with IFC Insurance, and of course the Godfather, Ed Ray, Conover Insurance. Let's give them a round of applause. A few announcements that I wanted to cover before I hand the mic over to Dennis is coming up on January is a busy month for us, and so we have two major events. Our Eastern Washington Ag Expo is coming up right after the turn of the year. So we still have some sponsorships available or some booth space available if you're interested in being a part of that event. It's been a long time event for the Pasco Chamber, and it's the largest non-commodity specific ag show in southeastern Washington. We draw a lot from northeastern Oregon. Last year even we had folks from Montana and Alaska come down for that as well too. So it's a really good opportunity to see what's the new and latest gear and equipment for the ag industry. And Lamb Weston has come on this year as our premier sponsor. So let's give them a round of applause for jumping on board with that. I believe they're bringing a lot of tasty foods and snacks as well too, so you can come hungry and we'll take care of you that way. Also, U.S. Cellular and Les Schwab are our major sponsors with that event too, so really excited for January to come upon us and have that event come through. And then immediately after that is the Mid-Columbia Ag Hall of Fame. That's going to be the following week. It's here at the Red Lion. It's presented to us by Port of Pasco, and again, I think this program I think really speaks a lot how important the ag industry is to our area. We'll have this whole banquet room, all of them filled up. We'll have over 400 folks there. Get to hear some really great stories and acknowledge those in the industry that have made a difference in our community, especially in agriculture community as well too. So it's one of those events with a lot of heart to it, and also one of the new things that one of the new programs we launched within the Ag Hall of Fame is a Cultivating Our Future grant, and that's where we asked those attendees last year to kind of step up and donate to this grant program to help youth in education and some of those programs that support that. And we're ecstatic that we met and exceeded our goal of over $5,000, especially for just talking about that. And we had the ag community step up and help us out. We launched it and we had almost $20,000 in requests. So obviously there's a demand out there. This year we get to hear the stories of the 4 groups and organizations that received those grants. They're going to tell us a little bit of how that helped them, and I think the idea is that this will snowball a little bit more, and we have a really big grant program. Really excited to have that going on. So another reason to show up to that event, and that's January 18th. One item too, oh, what do you know, perfect timing on my slideshow here. I wanted to acknowledge as well too that Safe Home just last week announced that the city of Pasco is the 3rd safest city in Washington State, behind Sammamish and Kirkland. So that's, yes. A lot of credit goes to obviously our chief of police, our city council, but really the community that lives in Pasco. So we're ecstatic to have that honor, and we can't help but share it as much as we can as well too. And just ironically, you see the top score, they ranked the top 25 in Washington State. The top score was 86.07. You see where we were just shy of 80. The 25th ranked was 46. So it wasn't like it was their metrics of how they determine this really, I think, speaks the levels of how far Pasco has come and where we're going. So it's really exciting that we had a chance to announce that, and there's just a lot of things that are going really good in our community. So thank you for that. So with that, it's now my pleasure to introduce Dennis Giese, who, with John L. Scott, who's our 2017-18 president, to take us through the rest of the program. Dennis?
Thank you, everyone. Help me welcome Brian Griffith, who's Assistant Vice President of Marketing from Giese and our sponsor today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you, everyone, for showing up for today's event. Giese is very excited to participate in this event and sponsor it. Specifically this event because it connects back to one of the things that makes credit unions different. I say this all the time, if you've heard me speak before, that giving back to community is just part of our DNA. It's who we are. And that's because cooperatives, like credit unions, food cooperatives, energy cooperatives, we have a core set of 7 tenets that we all follow, whether, again, energy, finance. And one of those tenets is to have a concern for the community where your members are living and working. So to be able to share today with all of you and with the nonprofits that are here helps us live out our concern for this community and all of the communities where our members live and work. So we're very excited to do that. We're also excited about the $5 GISA bucks. And I want just a little story about these and how they're kind of linked to GISA. GISA was founded in 1953 by a group of supervisors working for the General Electric Company out in the Hanford area. So the General Electric Supervisors Association was formed when a group of those engineers came together and they all took $5 and they stuffed it in a really secure safe that was actually a shoebox. And they suddenly had capital to loan to each other because at the time, in the early 50s, Richland had just been built. There weren't a lot of banks here. Travel between the Tri-Cities was restricted. So in order for people to have access to small dollar personal loans, not large car loans, home loans, but small dollar personal loans that help them, succeed and be more financially vibrant with each other, they needed to rely on each other. So those supervisors, they came together, they all put $5 in, and they invested in their community by investing in each other. So today, when you take your $5 and you visit the nonprofits, we're going to ask you to invest in this community with a donation that you're able to make. And I would also encourage you to maybe boost that up from $5, which you can do right down here on the bottom. But again, thank you so much for joining us. GISA is proud to sponsor this. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the work that we're doing, showing concern for this community, we've also got our community impact report on the table there in front of you. You can read about all the great things that we've done. But thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That's a pretty cool story, actually. Good history. We have 10 nonprofit partners to showcase today, and so I'll invite each one of them up to tell a little story about their organization. And the first one is Libby Campbell from Columbia Industries. Libby?
Good afternoon, everybody. I've recruited my colleague Kaylee Bear because I believe in strength in numbers. So she's going to help me describe some of our programs that we've got going on. Columbia Industries is a great organization I'm very proud to be a part of. We positively impact the lives of people with disabilities, both developmental and physical, and those that have just life barriers that prevent them from finding employment or socializing with others. We do this by providing employment opportunities, employment training, socialization opportunities, and community exploration and integration. We strive to provide best-in-class services for all the clients that we work with. We believe they all have unique challenges that they need to overcome, and we just want to help them achieve success in all aspects of their lives. A little bit of our history. We've been in the community for 54 years now. We've explored a variety of different options for our clients over the years as far as employment training. We've operated a wood shop before. We did automobile detailing. We had Shop CI within the last few years, which was a retail store where our clients could gain hands-on experience with, stocking and things like that. And we currently have about 5 different departments that provide different avenues of client services for people with disabilities. Okay.
So like Libby said, my name's Kaylee Bear, and I'm one of our managers for one of our client services programs. So I'm going to tell you a bit about each of our programs. The first one is CI Employment Services. This is a really huge outreach opportunity. It provides job placement and community outreach and retention services, job retention services. Our employment consultants provide job search and work skills training, resume help, mock interviews, and job coaching. Each consultant spends countless hours with clients who have disabilities and life barriers that prevent them program that we have is CI Solutions. This is a assembly center, an on-site assembly center that we have at Columbia Industries and manufacturing employment for these individuals with disabilities. We currently have a couple of contracts, one with Railtech to build railroad lanterns, and then another one for making welding hoods for the U.S. Navy. Another program we have is the CI Federal Building. It's a contract through Source America that provides janitorial, groundskeeping, and maintenance services for the Richland Federal Building. We currently employ 12 people with disabilities, and clients are responsible for more than 300,000 square feet of janitorial space to clean. My program that I manage is called the CI Community Center. It is a safe, creative, and supervised place for people with disabilities to come and socialize, learn new skills, explore our community, and have fun. We have approximately 55 to 60 regular clients that come Monday through Friday. Activities include board games, community outings, cooking classes, field trips, Zumba classes, pet therapy, arts and crafts, movies. Something that we're expanding into is some pre-vocational training and evening cooking classes with healthy eating and budgeting. Another thing that we're expanding into is our employment services will also be opening a resource center, so we get a lot of walk-ins into our building, you know, people just looking for help finding a job. And so we wanted to open this resource center to hopefully help these people that maybe aren't the typical clients that we serve or are, but that we can help them, you know, overcome those barriers that they might have to employment. And then Libby will finish off.
Just real quick, the last department that we have is CI Information Management, formerly known as CI Shred. We provide document shredding and imaging services and record storage for businesses in the area. And that is Columbia Industries in a nutshell. Sorry we went over our 2-minute mark. There's a lot of stuff that we do, so it's hard to fit it all really quickly. But please come learn more about our organization. We've got volunteer opportunities, and we look forward to sharing more information with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Each one of our nonprofits today are going to have a booth in the back, and I hope that you can hang around afterwards and visit and say hi and ask further questions, so that would be fantastic. Luann, it seems like I only see you about once a year at these things, but Luann Ayers from United Way.
Well, it's a privilege to be here among friends because United Way is really about connecting you with needs in the community, and it's because of you that so many of our needs are really attacked not only at the urgent level, hunger and homelessness, how can we help people have tomorrow be better than today, but also at the systemic level, how can we help people create a better future for themselves and their kids? So first, a quiz. So those of you who know me, I have a background as an educator, so it's a quiz time. So how many, how many adults in our community, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, does not have a high school diploma or a GED? Give me a number. 1 out of 8? 1 out of 5? 1 out of 20? The number of adults in our community who don't have a high school diploma or GED, 1 out of 5. So that means for those individuals, their future is really constrained. Their opportunities to create a life for themselves and for their kids are really, the options are very narrow. So one of the primary focuses of United Way is really to help increase the high school graduation rate, working with the school districts and other agencies, but also working with individuals who have aged out of that arena. So they might be 18 or 28 or 38 and not have the opportunity to go back and get their high school diploma or GED so they can go on and into the trades or into education and further their careers. So we are doing some very creative things in building partnerships, starting with babies, helping their parents understand what they can do to get their kids ready for school, because 1 out of every 3 kids enters kindergarten not ready for kindergarten. 1 out of 3. That's getting better. Yay! So there's a lot that we can do together, but it really takes you and I and a lot of smart community partners to make that difference. So what does United Way do? It's going to be our 60th year in this community of making an impact, and it is because of you that we have the opportunity. Are you ready? So, I put this cape on because United Way is really the guardian of the gaps. We look at data, we talk to agencies, we look at where there are growing needs that aren't being met, whether it's in urgent needs like hunger and homelessness, or long-term needs like getting people to further their lives with education. And it is because of you, you are the superheroes that create the fabric for our community that really helps us address those gaps to create a better life. So whether it's in the area of health, where we have over 34,000 people in our community who don't have access to health care and don't have health insurance, or education, or financial stability, where we have been able to provide scholarships to help people keep their child in child care so they don't have to make the choice between working or paying for child care. We also have agencies now that work with parents, and if they are homeless, know that there are 1,200 kids each night that are homeless. 1,200. And about 75% of those are with an adult, but about 25% are not with an adult and are fending for themselves. So we have provided opportunities for parents who are working but need a safe place for their kids to go after school before they go to a shelter or go to their car, which is their current home, so they can go to the Y or the Boys and Girls Club and have a safe place to be while their parents continue to work. We currently fund 52 programs with 22 agencies because of you. And you are the individuals and the companies that make the fabric of our community stick together and help us address those gaps so that we can progress. So in our 60th year in 2018, we look forward to working with you to make a better Tri-Cities. If you have questions about the new United Way, come on back to our booth. Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine. Thank you, Elaine. Landon Matthews, Sleep in Heavenly Peace.
Hello, everyone. I'm Landon Matthews with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and I just want to tell you a little bit about our organization. We all know about all the great organizations that help the families in our community who are having hard times, who have great needs. With coats, toys, especially during the holidays, all those families can be taken care of. A need of beds for children is kind of going unnoticed. A little bit of history, our organization started back in 2012 with a family who saw another family in need where their kids were sleeping on the floor. And they decided to make a set of bunk beds for this family. They did that and delivered it to them, had a great experience, and they realized they had a lot of lumber left over. So they decided, hey, let's make another bunk bed and put it on Facebook and see if we can find another family that has this need. The response was amazing, not only for the need of the bed, but for other members of their community who said, this is really awesome. We want to help build some beds for families in our community. And so the next year, they built 22 bunk beds. So they got about 44 kids off the floor that year. Each year since then, they've doubled their number of bunk beds. This year alone, we have, I just looked at it a couple days ago, we have made over about 525 bunk beds, so just over 1,000 kids in the Northwest region off the floor and sleeping in their own beds. So that kind of makes from 2012 to now, it's just over 16,000 kids off the floor. It is so important for kids to be able to get a good night's rest, to sleep good, to be off the cold floor, especially during the winter, and to get that good night's rest so that they can go to school in the morning and be awake and alert and attentive to learn and to get that education. A chapter president in Rexburg just shared a story the other day about some teens who received their own bed a few months ago. They before were having a hard time with leadership, with the school teachers, with the principal, the security guard. But since then, they are now giving back to their community. They are saying hi and shaking the hand of the security guard. They are talking with their principal in nice ways. It's just a real amazing experience to be able to provide this service to the community. And what we do is we get the community involved. We invite the community, we invite organizations, individuals, companies to sponsor beds, to sponsor and to help us build and to help us deliver those beds to the families in need in our town. And we're going to be here for the long run. We're just got started up. We just did our first build a couple weeks ago and just did our first delivery to 10 families this last Saturday. And it was just an amazing experience for the families to be able to go and to meet these families and deliver those beds to them. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Landon. You need to team up with Luann at United Way. That sounds like it'd go well together. Luke Holloway, downtown Pasco.
Who's ready for Christmas? Show of hands, y'all shopped up? Cool, well, I'm Luke from the Downtown Pasco Development Authority. By a quick show of hands, who doesn't know what we do? Okay, good, we're doing our job finally. Okay, this is really exciting. And if you don't know what we do, the Downtown Pasco Development Authority, a lot of people know us by the programs we do. Our mission is to make Downtown Pasco a center for culture, business, and community spirit, and we really do that by trying to run a couple special, unique programs downtown. The first one I want to talk about is our Pasco Farmers Market. We're entering next year's our 30th season. Who was there the very first season of Pasco Farmers Market? Anybody? Ooh, we got some. Awesome. So 30 years later, we're really excited. If you've been following what has been happening at our city level, we're getting a really exciting new facelift to our space down there, and we're really excited over the next probably decade or a little bit less, we're hoping. And but we're going to celebrate that 30th year in a really big way this year. We're going to continue to celebrate the things we normally celebrate downtown: Cinco de Mayo, Fiery Foods Festival, Christmas in La Plaza that's coming up this weekend. So if you're Saturday from 5 to 7, we're going to light up the plaza and have some fun with Santa and some other folks. If you want information, you can see some pictures back there. But we're going to celebrate those 30 years. The Farmers Market Week is in August of this next year, so be looking for a lot of really fun events around our Farmers Market. Additionally, we run the Pasco Specialty Kitchen. How many people? That's a lot harder. Who knows about the Pasco Specialty Kitchen? Whew, okay, good. We're getting our name out too. So that a lot of folks know the Food Truck Friday program that kind of put the kitchen on the map. Our first kind of local food truck pod in the community. We're doing some really exciting things. We just this weekend got some brand new windows popped in there. So if you know somebody who wants to start a food truck and they say, "I'd love to start it, but I don't got the $50,000 to put down to buy a truck," or Gisa won't give me a loan. We understand food is a risky business, and people need to get a little bit of a track record, and that's what the kitchen's there for. Is we actually have popped in 3 windows so people can kind of get the experience of running a mobile food business in a stationary place without that initial investment, so that they can get some balance sheets and some income statements that they could then take to Angie or Nikki and say, "Hey, I'd love a loan on that business." So if you know somebody who's looking to start up a food business, have them come down to the Pasco Specialty Kitchen. We don't just do mobile units, we also do things like food manufacturing. So if somebody wants to start getting into baked goods, they do sauces, they make that great rub, they have some really fabulous tamales or something that they just make that's amazing. We'd love to have them, and we really get to celebrate this year a couple really big milestones. The Fresh Out the Box company that started, now we have a bricks and mortar. Woohoo! Everybody loves that. And Hot Tamales is another business we're currently incubating. Anybody had hot tamales at one of the local farmers markets? They're going to be down there at Christmas in the Plaza, but a lot of great stuff. If you've got a company and are looking to sponsor some great events this year, come talk to me. I would love to chat with you about getting involved downtown and continue to be part of this really exciting wave we're in. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Luke. Shelley Bateman, Franklin County Historical Society.
Hello, I'm Shelley Batman with the Franklin County Historical Society, and this is Dick Shireman, Dr. Richard Shireman, and he also, I know he always wants to keep it so informal, but he also works at the Franklin County Historical Society and Museum. We're here to tell you just a little bit about the Franklin County Historical Society, and I'll tell you a little bit about the organization and the museum that we operate. He'll tell you a little bit about the history that we represent. Our mission is to preserve and promote the history of Franklin County, and that's a pretty encompassing, rich history, so we're very excited when we get to share that with people. Did you know that this last year we had about 2,500 visitors, literally worldwide, that came to visit our museum in downtown Pasco? And those people were part of the tours that come through our area. They were locals, they were people touristing through. So we get to share our story with a lot of different people. Did you know that we have numerous schools and groups that come through and tour also? We assist many people with research projects. We have a full research and archive library. People come in and utilize that on a regular basis. Did you know that we are completely funded by memberships, donations, and business partnerships? And did you know that we need you? We need you as a volunteer, we need you as a member, we need you as a donor, and we need you as a business partner. So I'm going to turn it over to Dick, and he's going to talk a little bit more about some of the exciting exhibits we have coming in 2018, which, by the way, is our 50th anniversary. So we're going to be teaming up with Luke and the Downtown Pasco Development Authority because they're having their 30th Farmers Market. We're having our 50th anniversary as preserving the history of Franklin County.
Thanks, Shelley, and thank you all for the chance to be here. Yes, it's anniversary time, and being an old social studies and junior high principal, I have to needle you also, continuing on the "Did you know" theme, to encourage you to come down and see us. Yes, it's our 50th. So if you were here in the late 60s, you know, that's when the museum got started. But our heritage is very deep here in Franklin County, perhaps deeper, I will tell you, than any place in North America in some ways. That's pretty exciting, I think. But first off, looking at 50, then we're going to roll the clock back to 75. 75 years ago, Pasco was ground center during World War II for 95% of all military aid that went to the Eastern Front. We hear a lot about the Western Front, but what became the Port of Pasco was the place that the military accumulated all of its war material that was sent across the North Pacific to help our then ally, Russia, in World War II. We have folks that come to our museum regularly that reminisce about the old days. In fact, they'll be there tomorrow. Secretary who was there when that was taking place, LaDonna Madison. So a great story to tell. We're going to have an exhibit related to some of this next year, and we hope to do our little part for citizen diplomacy because we need to perk up positive relations between these two countries. Then I'm going to roll back to 100 years ago. 100 years ago, America's best-selling author not only traveled through Eastern Washington, but decided to tarry in Franklin County. He was actually, had just attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting. It was in Spokane, not Pasco, but they told him, on your way down south, you know, you want to do a novel about the inland Northwest. You do all these cowboy Indian shoot 'em up stuff, and you want to think about this area. And so this germ of an idea grew in him, and by the time he got down here to Franklin County, he took a little vacation within a vacation, stayed here, and wrote a book that became an American bestseller. I'm not going to tell you who it is because we want you to come down to the library and see a little about this stuff. By the way, presently there's a small exhibit about that fact in the city of Pasco's display case where you walk in, as well as a copy of the book. Then I'm going to reel back to, then I'm going to go back 200 years, actually a little over, 250 years. I brought something today. Shelley and I take very seriously our role of custodians of our history. And And again, being a person with some years in education, I know how important it is to root young people in a sense of heritage. I was moved by the remarks about what this great work has done that you're championing with the beds and how you've seen a change in behavior of kids. I've seen this in young people who get excited about heritage or taking part in National History Day, and they love getting their hands on things. So actually in a glass case back there, but gosh, for an extra piece of dessert, I'll take the glass off. You can hold this thing if you want to. 250 years ago, the namesake for this county, Benjamin Franklin, established America's first public library. And his books ultimately became a substantial part with Thomas Jefferson's The Library of Congress. We were able to obtain a 2-volume work that was actually in that original library as a kind of iconic piece associating our area with Benjamin Franklin himself. And we did bring that for you to take a look at back here at our display. The last thing that goes way, 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 way back, 10,000 years. I'm not sure where we're going to put a date on this, but with all due respect to Kennewick Man, just across the water, Franklin County actually had a very important archaeological site that predates Kennewick Man, predates Stonehenge, predates the Great Pyramids of Egypt. And so this next year we're going to be drawing a little attention to the fascinating story of Marmas Man. Franklin County site located at the confluence of the Snake and Palouse rivers in Franklin County, which is the oldest evidence of human remains on the entire continent. So have we got a lot to celebrate or what? Come join us, see us, and thank you for the chance to share.
Thank you. Malin Bergstrom, Pasco Aviation Museum.
Aviation history, so I have my gear with me today. It's not quite authentic because you wouldn't be able to have your hair hanging out of the back of the helmet like that, but you know, close enough. So, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Malin Bergstrom. I am with Bergstrom Aircraft, but I'm also the volunteer board president with the Pasco Aviation Museum. Our 501c3 is under the Pacific Northwest Aviation Museum as it was formed in 2011. The reason behind our 501c3 is to save and restore a historic building in our community. Not very many people know that the Naval Air Station in Pasco was built in 1942 and has then become the Tri-Cities Airport. So the entire east side of the airport was originally built, and I don't know how to operate the clicker. Got it. There we are. And the original control tower that the Navy built still stands, again built in 1942. She was a little weathered and a little worn, but with a lot of volunteer help, including the Port of Pasco, who put together a new roof and new siding on the building, it has been saved. And if those walls could talk, they would tell some amazing stories. About 1,800 pilots were trained at NAS Pasco. They started out as a primary training base with the Stearman aircraft, the biplane that's in the image here. That's the original control tower on the east side of the airport. And there is a wave. This particular wave is Alpha. And she still lives in our community. She is in Kennewick and has been a wonderful supporter of the saving and restoration work. There was Navy pilots and instructors. The base was a very busy place full of flight training as well as all the support personnel to make the flight training happen. There was full power plant, steam plant on the base. There was cafeteria, rec hall, a giant swimming pool, which many people remember. I just learned today that there was a roller skating rink on the base. It was a city unto itself. And that's what the building was called back in the day, hangar number 2, and the original control tower attached to the hangar there. So that building is in restoration mode at the moment. It's not open to the public yet, but the goal is to turn that building into an aviation museum. Some great history there. I'd like to say thank you to Franklin County Historical Association and Museum. They do a wonderful job of archiving pictures, and it's why we have these photographs today, is because they collected them and kept them safe, and we have them available now for many people to see. It was all volunteer effort. It still is an all volunteer effort. Gentleman on the left there had pulled 5 layers of ceiling material down inside the building, years and years of remodeling. The second picture is local firefighters. Pasco Fire Department used the remodeling work to do some fire training, search and rescue work inside the building as if it was on fire. It was a great way to pull some walls down that were going to be removed, so they enjoyed that a lot. The third photo is a young man who earned his Eagle Scout by replacing the entry ramps into the building with proper ADA ramps. And the fourth photo on the right there is Union, the 598 plumbers and steam fitters came in and donated their time to redo the plumbing inside the building, all volunteers. And there's Altha again, wonderful gal. So that was her in the black and white on the Jeep a few photos earlier. She is at the Reach Museum in this photograph. We have a beautiful display there at the Reach that they have loaned from the Pasco Aviation Museum. So if you're in the Reach and wandering around and see the naval station history, that's a display that will soon be at the airport. Once the museum is open, the possibilities are endless. Field trips, school trips, events, veterans dinners, you name it, we hope to be able to organize and put together and showcase the local aviation history. And it's not going to be just limited to the Navy history. Of course, that's very important because they built the building and the base, but prior to them, there is airmail history. There's all kinds of unique history in our community related to aviation, so we hope to display all of that. Our mission statement, preserving history for future generations, sharing aviation with all generations, and honoring the greatest generation. We do need more volunteers. Any skill level is very much welcome. If you'd like to volunteer, feel free to come and see me at the table in the back there. Have more information on and contact info. Of course, we always accept donations. We have a great response through our website. People can donate online, can walk in person at Bergstrom Aircraft. We are right next door to the old tower, and can also donate online. So it works really well. We're in the phase now where we're putting materials back into the building. We're going to start sheetrock work soon, so we need donations of materials, lighting, flooring, display cases, paint, supplies, you name it. We would be glad to accept it and use it. And then last but not least, to share our message, please put the word out. A lot of people didn't know that the Navy built the entire airport in Pasco in 1942. They didn't know that the original tower still stands. And so we want to spread that word and let people know that we'll have an aviation museum in our community soon. And there is a long, long list of volunteers and donors and supporters, so I could go on and on about all the wonderful support that we've received already from the community. It's just been overwhelming, and we very much appreciate it. And there might be an image for our future. That is the building there. We had a B-17 visiting over the summer, and we also had the local Tri-City Military Vehicle Club bring out some vehicles and have them on display. So there is an opportunity there to have a showcase of an aviation museum right here in our community. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Maylin. Martine Valdez, Tri-City Community Health.
Hi, my name is Martin Malades, and I am with GISA as well. Actually, well, but today I'm representing Tri-City Community Health. I'm the VP for Business Development and External Affairs, and I actually do want to give a shout out to the city of Pasco for being the third safest city. I know that we get a bad rap, and it's important, I think, for us to get that positive word out. But I'm going to turn over the mic to Leslie Martinez, who is an enrollment and outreach specialist, and she'll tell you more about our organization.
Hello everyone, my name is Leslie Martinez and I'm with Tri-Cities Community Health, and I'm going to share some information about our services at Tri-Cities Community Health. If it loads. There we go. Okay, so on here we have a couple of the different services our clinic has to offer. We offer anywhere from medical, dental, we do have an eye clinic. We have a walk-in primary care, behavioral health services. We do have a pharmacy, and we are expanding onto the Kennewick and Richland offices now. Today, I did want to focus a little bit on the open enrollment. It's taking place now through January 15th. I did want to clarify, however, the deadline to be active as of January 1st is December 15th, so this Friday, but we are enrolling people through January 15th. We have enrollment specialists out in Kennewick once a week, and then we have 4 enrollment specialists out in Pasco from 8 to 6 p.m. This service is free, and you don't have to be a patient of ours. It's free to anybody who can benefit from it. On here, I have the qualifications that anybody who qualifies for the service. They must be a citizen or legal resident from the ages 19 to 64, not entitled to Medicare, and non-incarcerated. On here, depending on the household size, is their income requirement, or not requirement. They must not exceed this requirement to be eligible for the Affordable Care Act. When scheduling an appointment, this is what we will need to see from you. It will be a valid driver's license or ID, proof of citizenship or legal residency, 2 months worth of pay stubs, and most recent income tax return and Social Security card. For those that do not qualify for these services, we do offer a sliding scale discount at Tri-Cities Community Health. And in the back, we do have a table. If anybody knows of anybody who could benefit from our services, you can stop by and we can get you guys some information from for your offices. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Hastings, Hilo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about HIHO. HIHO stands for Hands In, Hands On Tri-Cities. We're a 501c3 that was organized back in 2015 with the goal of bringing organizational and financial support for a children's discovery museum in the Tri-Cities. Currently, we're sponsoring an exhibit out at the Carousel of Dreams called Amusement Park Science, the physics behind the fun. We fundraise and bring exhibits from other children's museums throughout the nation to kind of bring them here for 3-month runs and show people the caliber of exhibit we're hoping to bring in a full-time children's museum. Our first effort was A View from Space. It was brought from OMSI and debuted at CBC last summer. We were open there for 40 volunteer hours. We're all volunteer staffed, mostly by our board of 9. And over the 40 hours that we had volunteers, we had 1,087 people come through. This year at Amusement Park Science, we've been there for 60 hours and we've had 3,000 people come through. So the response has been overwhelming. The room that we're in and the carousel has reached fire capacity several times, where we've had to limit people from coming in, and so that's a good problem to have. We have been open out at the carousel from the end of September all the way through, we'll be there through the end of this year. So if you haven't been out to see us yet, please come see us. It's a fun exhibit that's also complemented by some blocks that we've purchased after our first fundraiser called Imagination Playground. Some of the examples of them are back on my table. Kids can build forts. Inevitably, it turns into lightsaber wars and all sorts of other things, but they do whatever they want with them, use their imagination and build things with them. We're holding our second fundraiser this spring. Most of our funds come from private donations, business donations, and also from civic groups, which we're more than grateful for. And like most of the organizations that have talked here today, we are in need of sponsors for our fundraising to bring the exhibits here. For board members, we have 2 open slots right now. We're looking to grow our board from 9 to 11. And also for volunteers to help us volunteer staff the exhibits. We already have a reservation on the next exhibit we'll be bringing fall of next year. It's called Trivial Pursuit, a 50-state adventure. It's going to have activities from all 50 states that run the gamut from physical activities to geography. Every state has something really fun to do, and it's all hands-on and really active, and so we're excited about that. It's the largest of the 3 exhibits we've been able to bring. We usually try to add size to each exhibit, and this one will be 3,000 square feet. So we're not sure where we're going to pop up in the Tri-Cities. We've got it narrowed down to one partner in particular, but the details are still being worked out. So we're excited to be bringing this. We're a board of 9 parents and lovers of hands-on learning, and so eventually we're working towards our own full-time facility where this isn't something that just pops up, but something that's an option for you and your families and visitors that you have from out of town to bring them to something to do in the Tri-Cities, especially for kids. So I have more information in the back. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Jody Gerritsen, Support Advocacy and Resource Center.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Ramirez. I am the program administrator at the Support Advocacy and Resource Center, so I'm filling in for Jody today. SARC provides services to victims of crime throughout Benton and Franklin counties. Right now we currently have 2 sexual assault advocates and 1 general crimes advocate. And just to kind of give you an idea of how many clients we see, last fiscal year, we had 334 sexual assault clients and 211 general crimes clients, which are victims of all other crimes that aren't sexual assaults. So we also have a prevention program with 2 specialists that go into schools throughout all of the school districts in the Tri-Cities. They are busy all school year. The 2 of them were booked through March at the beginning of the school year, so they are very busy. This year, also new to us, we have a human trafficking advocate. So we have an advocate who is dedicated to just clients who are victims of human trafficking. We also have a mental health counselor. So we give out a lot of referrals to counselors in the area, so now it's great to have our own counselor on site dedicated to our clients. And we're hoping to get another counselor within the next few months. We also have Kids Haven at SARC, which is a program in conjunction with Benton and Franklin counties where we do the forensic child interviews for a child who has disclosed that they are a victim of crime. And that's great for the children in this area because then they can come to a warm environment where they can speak with Mari, who's our interviewer, who's been there for 16 years and is great at what she does. And then while they meet with Mari, then our advocates can meet with their parents and help connect them with all of the resources that they might need. So that's just a little bit about SARC really quickly, but I will also be back at my table if anybody has any other questions. Thank you.
And Sarah McPherson, Second Harvest.
Thank you. My name is Sarah McPherson, and I am with Second Harvest. And is anybody tired of sitting down? Everyone stand up. Let's get on up here. We're going to do a little bit participation, which is everyone's favorite, I know. So I'm going to ask that one person from every table now sit down. Second row, just the second row. You guys pick one more person from each table, sit down. Everyone else stay standing. Are we good? Okay, now I want to take you guys on a little visualization game with me. So I want you guys to pretend that you guys are kids, okay? Let's say elementary school age. Pick your favorite age range. You can be at recess, you can be in the cafeteria, whatever you want to do, okay? Now I want you guys to take a look at all the people who are sitting down. Those people represent the 1 in 5 children in Franklin County who are food insecure. I know, I Debbie Downer this one real quick. Everyone go ahead and sit down. So 1 in 5, just in Franklin County, it's pretty staggering. And 2 minutes would not be enough time for me to tell you all of the different ways that we at Second Harvest work to alleviate hunger with children. But I will tell you that it is something that we actively work on, and obviously our hearts are in it for the kiddos. We work with all age ranges, but children tend to take some specific work. They have found that children who were originally slated as being behavioral problem children were actually just hungry. Especially Fridays and Mondays. Fridays, they're getting ready to go into a weekend where they don't have that free and reduced lunch anymore that they were used to getting during the school week. They get kind of anxious. They come back on Monday and they come back hungry. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm hungry, I'm not a joy to be around. And I have, hopefully, more skills than a child does to communicate what's going on with me. But you can imagine that kind of environment, what it does for children. So we have weekend backpack kits that we work on. We have school mobiles where we actually go into schools as if you're in a farmer's market, and we provide education because what we want to do is we want to lessen food insecurity. And food insecurity is a federal term. It basically means that you don't have enough calories to live a healthy and active lifestyle. And that's what we want for our children. No parent goes, I want my child to simply survive. You want them to thrive. And they can't thrive without nutrition. They need those nutritious, wholesome calories. So that's what we work on at the child level. And obviously, again, I could go on and on. I think all of us nonprofits are feeling the squeeze today. We are in this because it's our passion, because we live this, and we could talk for hours about it. I'll save you guys from that. But if any of you guys want to come back and talk to me at my table about Second Harvest and what we do to help those 1 in 5, I would love to talk to you guys about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's give everybody a round of applause again, please. I know we've run a little bit long, but again, would encourage you to stop by and visit with all the nonprofits that we're showcasing here today.